Okay. To continue, the wife becomes a part of you. You become part of her. You hang around together. You start saying things like that one another says. You just do. When God told Moses, Moses asked God, who should I say sent me? And God said, tell Pharaoh, I am sent you. So I thought about that this morning at 2 o'clock in the morning. I thought about that. Must have been like, I don't know, half an hour in the bed thinking about it. And we wonder why God said, I'm a jealous God. Why would he say that? I mean, think about it. Why would he say that? Because he was the very one that gave you life. God, I am that I am, gave you life, gave you breath, gave you food. Without God, you don't eat. Without God, you don't sleep. Without God, you don't use the bathroom. Without God, you don't sleep. Without God, you don't get clothes on. Without God, nothing happens to you. You're done. You're dead. So when people go out and obtain other gods, you're giving credence to that false God that gives you nothing. You are married to a woman. You're married to her. And you give her everything her heart's desire. And you have a jealousy for that wife. She goes out and gets other husbands. And you find out about it. That will cause a man to do some crazy stuff. And you ask the man, why did you get mad at your wife? You go off on her. Because I worked hard. I slaved. Skin hands. Wrinkled faces. Body put to extreme pressure to get her whatever she wanted. And she turned around and found somebody else. Yeah, you're pretty upset. Way past upset. It caused you to do some crazy stuff. And this happened before, and it's still happening. God said, have no other gods before me. Now, when he said that, he made it clear that if you have any other gods, and we're talking about any other gods, we're talking about the zodiac signs that y'all love so much. I'm a Pisces, a Libra, a Lion. All these, listen, Satan knew that humans was going to be fickle. He knew that. Satan knows how to get in your skin, get in your hair, if you will. He knows that if you see other gods that are tempting, that look good, you're going to at least try to taste it to see if there's any pleasure in that God. You give that God a chance because why not? You know, we got God. We got the I am. But maybe, just maybe, I might need a side piece. So the Israelites start hanging around the Canaanites. You got to understand, they would go out their area and they'll meet other people which had other religions, and God already told them, I am that I am. And then they said, it ain't enough. And when you introduce yourself to other deities, you have a tendency to want to taste it, to see how good it is. In doing so, Satan has a tendency to make some things come true that's not true, but he knows how to make some things happen. And you'll say, well, I didn't tell him that. Like, you got a false prophet. And a false prophet says, God told me to tell you A, B, and C. And you go, and not only that, a false prophet can tell you some situations you was in and how it came out. And a lot of false prophets will point somebody out, and Satan will give them information to feed to them, and they'll go like, "Whoa, you are real, because I didn't tell you that. No one could have told you that. Only I knew that information. How did you get it? You must be a real prophet." And you get hooked on that, and after that, you begin to follow that person because you just know for yourself that this guy knows how to get to me. And a lot of women have a tendency to follow. It's just what it is. It's in the Bible. Silly women laden with sin. Some women have a tendency to follow the wind. Whatever the wind blows, and men too, wherever the wind blows, if somebody comes to town with a suitcase full of goodies, and they're going to give everybody some goodies, but in order to get these goodies, you got to give them a lot of money. So they have the $50 line, $100 line, $500 line, $1,000 line. Okay, and they know how to tell a story first. You got to tell a story. You got to tell a story first. You got to come up with this good. You got to come up with a diabolical story about how God bless you. And in telling this story, you have to have music. And it's got to be soft. It's got to be leading. It leads your mind. It goes to your feelings. You feel emotional. You start feeling it. And you want what that guy got. And he says, you can get this. But the only way you can get it, you got to give a seed. 1,000. Now, wait. God just told me. There's 10 people in here. Oh, I'm sorry. What'd you say? Oh, I'm sorry. Mistake. God said 20 of you guys. 20 people in this audience have $1,000 or better. And if you come up right now, God said, come up and give me this seed. Give God this seed. Now the God is him. Give God this seed. And you will see an abundance of blessings come up on you in the near future. But if you doubt, you won't get it. You got to know how to cover your butt. If you doubt God, after you give the seed, then the chances of you getting the blessing isn't good. So keep the faith. So if and when it doesn't come true, you can fall back on they lack faith. It's fantastic. So when there is an evangelist or a prophet that's coming from out of town, he comes mentally with a briefcase full of goodies. Hold up. He comes with a briefcase full of goodies. Mentally. And he knows how. It's sad because the pastor is the go-to guy. He's the one that allows this to happen. Because now here's the thing. When you do that, there's a cut. The pastor gets a cut. The musician, because he was used by Satan to get a cut. And the musicians get a cut, pastor get a cut, and the prophet get a big cut. Wow, it's amazing how they rob people right in front of their faces, and because they use the word of God, and they're well known. And don't speak in tongues, because if you speak in a tongue, not God tongue, just a tongue, it's got to be real. You got to mix that in. You got to mix that tongue in that prophecy. You got to do that. Or if you don't do that, you're not going to believe it. So you say, God just told me that you're going to have a house in the near future. And you got to mix that in with, you got to mix that in. You got to mix it in. And if you notice, once tongues is spoken in a different language, as you begin to give people stuff, and then you got to know, psychologically, if you come up for prayer, you just say, as he prays for you, he lays his hands on you, and let's say, okay, let's just say that he prays for you, and he blows. Not everybody do that, but like Benny Hinn. That became a big thing, you know. Everybody started blowing. And psychologically speaking, it causes you to fall back and lay on the floor. Once you do that, everybody else wants to follow that program because you want that prophecy to come true. So you don't want to just get blown on and not fall. You want to make sure that whatever he says come true. And psychologically, you're going to follow protocol. That's why when Benny Hinn took his jacket off and went like this to the congregation, and you ever seen a football game, baseball game where everybody stand up and went like that? Everybody follow. See, you follow protocol. And now you know in your mind this is going to happen. Now, the pastor said this. The prophet said this. The Lord told me, he visiting prophet, he told the woman that was standing on the side, and the young man was coming down the aisle. He said, "What? Wait a minute. The Lord told me, this is your Boaz. This man here, God just told me that this man's your husband. He's going to be your husband. He's going to be your husband. God just told me that. He's going to be your husband." Now, the man stood there and just didn't say nothing. The woman that he spoke to as to saying, this is your husband, your future husband, she got happy. Now, here's the problem. His wife was in the audience. And she's sitting down in the audience going, looking at him like, ain't you going to tell him you're already married? You ain't going to tell that man you're already married? He didn't say nothing. And everybody started clapping. And everybody knew he was married to her. But the prophet said, this is your Boaz. What? So now we got to think, well, in order for this to happen, God has to get rid of somebody in order for this particular prophecy to come true. That means the wife got to go. So now she is madder than mad.